Hello guys, and welcome to this second lecture on session 3. Here we'll be covering conditional processing. So starting off with the if statement, which we can use to subset our data under a certain condition. Just showing you an example. So say in this case we just want to keep the observations where customer equals John. So we'll just go if customer equals and then John, because John's a string, so don't forget the semicolons, and then you just proc print that, and you see that you get all the just the John underscore values data set, which just contains the observations where John appears. So that's the if statement. Now we can do and create some classes as well, using, for example, the if and the else if statements. These are very often used to make decisions based on the actual value that your variables take. So for example, in this particular case, we're creating a spender underscore type class where basically we say if spend less or equal to 10 and not missing, then the spender type is a small spender. Then if the spends between 10 and 40, it's a medium spender. Else, all other conditions, that will be a big spender. So if we print that class underscore spenders data set, you see that's the result you get. You see that a new variable called spender underscore type has been created. Okay, so that's a very useful trick to class your observations. Now if you want to test several possibilities, I also advise you guys to use on top of that the in operator. It's a good alternative to using multiple or statements. And there you go, an example where you want to work out the gender of your customer. And in this particular case, you just basically say, for example, if the customer in and then Mary or Anne, then the gender equals female. Else, if the customer in John or Steve, then the gender equals male. Else, the gender is basically unknown. So you shouldn't have any of those really. So then that's the output you get. So also a very useful trick, the in operator to basically pick alternatives based on the values. Now we can use also the select statement to run logical tests, and it's very neat when you have multiple conditions, and say if you were to use the if and the else if approach, you'd need lots of those. With the select statement you can just use it and just test multiple conditions. Okay, so for example there you've got you start it off by saying okay, select, and then you define the variable, and then you specify using the when statement the different cases. Okay, so when Mary or Anne, then the gender equals female. Otherwise, the gender equals male. You then need to end the select statement. Okay, then you should put end so that the select statement ends, and you get your results. Okay. Now, just a side note on some logic and Boolean logic in this case. As is the case in many other programming languages, you can combine Boolean operators, and for the ones of you that have been doing this for a while, do bear in mind that the same considerations around logical pitfalls basically do apply. Okay, so in this case you need to use the and operator. If you want to use the or, this needs to be between parentheses. So if you look at that if statement, you see that the spend is greater than 40, and then you need to add your subsequent conditions. Okay, now the where statement, you can also use it to subset your data. And it's often used as an alternative to the if statement. You can use it directly on the set statement when reading a data set, something you cannot do with the if statement, and that makes it quite an efficient method, okay, for processing data. You can also use it within a SAS proc, where in this case the if statements are not allowed. So basically you've got the example there with the proc print, where I just want to print out the values where gender equals female, and that's what I get. Okay, so two useful ways to subset your data, and that's